USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fired grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket. Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at SensaGreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Hey, this is Bob Baumhauer here to let you know that something's cooking. Many of y'all know me as that crazy jock that brought Buffalo-style chicken wings to Alabama way back when. Turns out we were way ahead of the curve and things changed. Now I'm here to tell you that you're in for another surprise. As a guy who played for Coach Bryant and Don Shula, you got to know it's going to be a winner. Stay tuned and visit us at Baumhauers.com or become a fan on Facebook. You never know who's going to get some free tickets.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of iconic casinos, world-class shows, dining, and entertainment. Las Vegas. With flights starting as low as just $79, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Las Vegas. Book nonstop to Las Vegas now at flybreeze.com.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. Just like that. We're off. We're running. We're brand new. We're live. We're everything. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome into a Thursday morning edition. Beautiful day set for in the Tennessee Valley. How about 49 degrees right now? 73 degrees is your high today. Going to be a beautiful afternoon in the Tennessee Valley. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed. And if you need that air on today or you think you might need it on in the next few days, make sure you give our very, very good friends over at Talon Heating and Air a call, 256-503-4490. Let their talent work for you. They've got everything. They've got it all. They've got tune-up, system installation, natural gas, indoor air quality, service and repair, duct work. They've got it all. It's Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, Terry, Jeremy, give them a call. If you're looking for experience, they've got over 40 years of it. If you dial that phone number, they're going to answer because just like us, they are live and they are local. It's Talking Ball now, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And just a few minutes ago, it's one of the greatest weeks if you are a golf fan. The Masters is underway. Your ceremonial tee shots this year, your honorary starters, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Tom Watson. They got the 2025 Masters tournament underway. And how about this, though? How about this? At 6:40 this morning, our first twosome, they play threes. They play in groups of three, but the tournament got underway this morning. Davis Riley and Patton Kizzire got underway. And I know you're probably thinking, okay, yeah, great. They're both from the United States. So what's the big deal? How about this? For those that don't know, those that not paid attention to golf, and a lot of people love watching golf, but they don't go in depth in it. Davis Riley played at Alabama. Peyton Kizzire played at Auburn. So you have an Alabama golfer and an Auburn golfer kicking things off at the Masters this morning. The first twosome is an Alabama and Auburn guy. I thought that was pretty fun.
That's pretty ironic, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Since they both had great years on the hard court and basketball wise, and I still think it's the biggest golf tournament in the world. I mean, I would guess, U.S. Open for me is probably second. But
yeah. Well, Riley got the best of Kizzire on the first hole. Riley pars number one, and Peyton bogeys number one. So there you go. You've got your first par of the tournament and your first bogey of the tournament. Now, coming up, the next group will be Kevin Yu, Jonathan Vegas, and Nikolai Hojar.
Hojar.
From Denmark.
Got it.
Yes, I got to remember the D is silent in the name, but yes, it's Nikolai Hojar. So those are your next group going off on the tee. Masters ongoing all day. Danny Willett, remember him?
Champ.
Yep,
Jacksonville State guy.
724. Zach Johnson, my Iowa guy, goes off at 7:13. Some of your other ones, Freddie Couples, 8 o'clock this morning, 8:03 actually for Freddie Couples. But I tell you what, it's going to be a fantastic day. Phil Mickelson at 8:58. Scotty Scheffler will go off at 9:15. Jordan Spieth at 9:26. So we'll be paying attention to the Masters all morning, giving you live scoring updates as somebody kind of sets the world on fire. The one good thing about the Masters is usually on Thursday,
right?
You get that one guy you've never heard of shoot like some 5 under, 6 under, or whatever on Thursday.
4, 5, 6 under, and he's on top of the world for a day, man. And then they move the pins, and then woo! You have the pimento cheese sandwich, and look out.
Take your chicken salad or your egg salad and go.
Yeah.
Take your egg salad and go home.
Yeah.
Get your $1.50 egg salad sandwich. And
we'll throw another 80s song at Johnny Boy there. Take Me Home by Phil Collins.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep. There we go.
How about that? Lenny Acuff. I know he was on the drive. I'm sorry. I got the Masters going because it was underway.
Hey,
Coach Acuff texted us this morning.
When he texted you, of course you make room.
And he texted us and said, hey, guys, I know you didn't ask, but would you like me to come on this morning at 7:30? Yes.
He said he had several radio interviews lined up over the next couple of days, and we got to make room for Coach.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man.
If he texts you, yes, we want.
I mean, he didn't listen. I'm sure he wasn't. He was too busy yesterday, but he didn't hear the second hour of the show, which is basically a hour of hilarity trying to hint to everybody what was going on
without hinting what was going on.
Without letting the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
You know, I thought we did a heck of a job, actually.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. And for those that were paying attention. Oh, by the way, just so everybody knows, Charlie Plott will join us later this morning at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
We'll delve in more to the Masters and everything going on at Augusta over the next 4 days.
Right.
But if you were listening to the second hour of the show yesterday, we did kind of hint that the new head basketball coach at Samford University would have ties to this area and would be a very, very familiar name to those that followed basketball, especially UAH basketball for several years, and had interest in Lipscomb basketball. And that is because Lenny Acuff, the former Johnson Jaguar.
And he went to Davis Hills because one of his Davis Hills teammates called into the drive last night. That was nice. Or classmates, anyway.
Coached by, I believe, Danny Petty.
Yes, correct.
The Hall of Fame head coach, Danny Petty, over at J.O. Johnson High School, is now the new head coach at Samford University.
Following Buckyball.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people saying, well, Lipscomb, Samford, I mean, what's the difference between the two? Why make the move?
Well, we'll let Coach tell us that because, I mean, it's I mean, he was very calculated in every move he's made in his career. I mean, he came home to UAH and rebuilt that program for 22 years before he went to Lipscomb and did a great job reviving theirs and going to the second NCAA tournament in their history. So, knowing his mindset and the way he approaches things, he was not looking to move. It's just one of those things where, everyone knew at some point in time that Bucky McMillan would end up getting an opportunity to probably move up to the Power 4 or Power 5 with what he had done at Samford in just 5 years and things of that nature. But again, I think when you think about it, he left. These searches are all about timing,
right?
And I just think everything, and again, Lenny had opportunities to leave UAH before he did, and I'm sure he had inquiries when he was at Lipscomb because of his pedigree and how well respected he is in the coaching profession. But it's just all about timing, your family, where things stand, and certainly I think everything just sort of lined up perfectly for him in this opportunity. And certainly, athletic director Newton and Martin Newton and everybody at
that took me
Samford,
a second.
have put a great opportunity on the table there.
So when you said Martin Newton, I was like, wait a minit. I thought there was something. That's CM Newton's son.
Correct. That is correct. And
I was like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The circle of basketball.
Oh my gosh. It does not. I was like, wow. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. I remember when he was hired, I thought, well, wait a minute. Is that CM's son? And sure enough, that is his son. Lenny Acuff, by the way, 3 straight 20-win seasons at Lipscomb. He had that NCAA tournament appearance this past season where they faced Iowa State. In all, he had winning records in 5 of his 6 seasons at Lipscomb. That is impressive. Yep. And again, UAH 97 from 1997 to 2019 for those that were not familiar with his tenure there at Alabama Huntsville. And the thing too is, and Philip Hutchinson, the Lipscomb athletic director, did say in a video yesterday that, I mean, this was too hard to pass up, a chance to return to your home state, where your children are, your extended family live.
Yep.
I mean, yes, it's an hour and a half Nashville, hour and a half Birmingham, but his son Will, right now, an assistant coach at Montevallo.
That's right.
I mean, you're talking about being at Samford, he at Montevallo. I mean, that's there's just a lot of check marks that you can put in boxes to reasons why you might want to make that move. So, but Coach will join us at 7:30. So that's going to be a fantastic conversation there. 256-576-4977. You can join the conversation this morning. Mark from Spring Hill is with us on the phone lines. Good morning, Mark.
Morning.
Good morning, guys. Hey, just a quick question. Who controls tampering, or is tampering considered legal now?
Now it's considered legal. I would say.
Mark, it's
and I'm serious.
I tell you what. Let you and I and Drew, we're on the board now to control tampering. That's about how much of an enforcement it is. I mean, if there's unfortunately right now, there really is no guardrails on tampering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I can't pronounce his name. Drew, you can. Alabama guy left. Diamaco.
Yes. Diabati. Yes. Yep.
Okay. And I'm sure everybody's gonna make an excuse. Oh, he was like the guy last year that left. He was a problem. Yada yada yada. According to the player, he wanted to be. He felt like he should have been a starter and all that. Well, everybody doesn't. Life's not sunshine and rainbows, and you got to earn the spot. And so I think Coach played the best five. And if he wants to go, he's got to go. But if Kentucky and if they're out here, then I just, you just wonder when this is going to turn, meaning it doesn't go well for him at Kentucky, and then he starts turning in information to the NCAA or SEC. Somebody's going to tell on somebody. But I wonder, where is the rule? That's my thing. Where is the rule and what are the consequences? I don't think we have any.
We don't. I will quote Lenny Acuff. I heard him say this last night on the drive. We are flying a plane and trying to build it. That's just the best way. I mean, there's not a whole lot of guidelines right now. There needs to be, and I think all coaches want them. But yeah, right now it's a little tough. The thing with Mohamed Diabate, from what I understand, the coaching staff certainly wanted to keep him. I think they negotiated with him, from the jump after the season ended against Duke. I think a couple times, I believe they thought they had an agreement and that he was going to stay. And then his representation came back and wanted to continue to renegotiate. That's kind of the situation here. In many ways, they're not multi-year contracts.
No,
they're not your standard kind of NBA or professional contracts. So
no,
it's just a little bit,
It's a 1 year. It's a 1 year thing. It's a year by year situation.
Right. And so it's just kind of the way it works is not normal. This is professional sports without guardrails. So it makes it kind of even more hair raising. And so again, Alabama, they have money, they have good NIL, but they have to make decisions too. Like, okay, they have a budget like everybody else. That's why I think all coaches want a cap. Like, okay, this is how we're going to spend our money. And so Alabama had to decide to move on. Good luck to Mo Diabate. I think he can help Kentucky win. But certainly I think Alabama's going to be fine. Alabama lost Jaron Stevenson yesterday. That's the latest one.
Yes.
And he hasn't made a decision public, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't go home and go to UNC for his last 2 years, in my opinion, because I think Jaron is a 4-year player. And I think Jaron certainly helped Alabama win, did a nice job as a good kid. But again, it's all about the budget. And I think right now, LeBaron Philon and DeArmond Reed are very, very important to what Alabama wants to get accomplished next year. And they're certainly continuing to negotiate with those two young men who have not made a declaration whether they're going to explore the NBA draft or stay at Alabama or even go into the portal. I think Alabama's trying to lock those two guys down because, quite frankly, LeBaron Philon should be the centerpiece of your roster if you re-sign him. And then I think DeArmond Reed could be among your 2 to 3 best players as well.
And let me ask you this one last question, and I'll let you guys go. Is that, like, I'm in public education, so a superintendent's salary is public. It's public money. Nick Saban, I can. If you want a link, I can show you. I can send you his contract. It's anybody can Google it. When he was in Alabama, that's about 40 pages. And so that being the case, why are we not seeing full disclosure of a public institution with public players being paid by public dollars? Help me with that one.
Because some of this, Mark, is not I mean, yes, it's public, but it's donations.
Like collective.
It's like collective. So the collective is tied to Alabama,
but not direct.
Not directly tied to Alabama.
And I'll say this too. Scott and I have been hinting about the revenue sharing and this week being big in Washington, D.C. Well, that's one of the things that they want to be publicized is they want these contracts to be publicized where how they were negotiated, what the terms are, and then that is public record,
right?
And then these agents who are, some of them very unscrupulous and charging outrageous, fees to represent these players, then they'll, the onions peel back where you see who his representation is and how they're handling themselves.
Yeah, and so right now, there is no way because if I have $2 million and I give it to the collective of the school of my choice, no one's going to know that. The so-and-so collective got a big donation from so-and-so, but that's about all. That's about all you're going to get right now. And remember too, a lot of times, remember when all of this first started, players would have a do not contact tag when you would go into the portal. That there was a sign or a red flag that player had already made up their mind. Now, what we're finding out too is in this ever-changing world is that when these players have these do not contact in there, that means you have to directly go through their agency. Mm-hmm. They don't have a school yet, but they only want their agent or their agency to field anything. So, I mean, it's getting
they
crazy.
Already know where they're going.
Now it's two things. You already know where they're going, or they only want their agent to do all the conversation. Used to be they just knew where they were going. So there's so much change. It changes every day. Unfortunately, that is where we are at. And that's why Richard Hendricks said it's kind of like EuroLeague basketball because all of these things are only 1-year deals. They're 1-year things. And you renegotiate after every year, and you may not have the same players back on your roster next year because they're going to go somewhere else or so when you see a kid and just brace yourself, when you see somebody commit to a school to play basketball, just hold your breath that you have them for 4 years, 3 years, 2 years in there. You may get them for
change. You may not have them ever.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing, and just hold your breath. Just hold your breath. Mm-hmm. All right, 7:19. Let's get our first break in. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a new wreck, Pulaski Pike and Prosperity Way. That one's got injury and possible entrapment. They've got 36 in East Upper River Road. That's Valormosa Springs in Morgan County. That one should be getting close to being ready to clear. Some eastbound blockage there. No hoses, no mask. Dr. Sandman has the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Neck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Now is the time to sign up for the Eagle Installation WZZN Charity Golf Tournament to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation. This year's event is the morning of April 21st at Cherokee Ridge, and each member of the winning team not only gets the championship belts, but a full year membership to Cherokee Ridge. Breakfast and lunch are provided, plus tremendous prizes and a chance to win $100,000. Cost is $800 a team or $200 per individual, and corporate sponsorships are available. Send an email to 977WZZNevents@gmail.com to reserve your spot today.
Never miss 1 second of Charger baseball with the Charger Zone.
Davidson's going to send this one into the gap. J.C. Wilburn get to it. He dives and dives.
Only on 97.7 ESPN.com and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
That's good stuff right there. Take me home with a pimento cheese sandwich. Egg salad, baby. Okay. I'm going egg salad. But look, though, I tell you what, if I had $10, right? Well, I mean, I've got $10. But I could eat like a king over there. Because you figure, I mean, an egg salad and a pimento cheese sandwich at the Masters is $1.50.
That's $3.
$3. I'm eating like 3 sandwiches.
I know, but I'm just saying if you bought 2 sandwiches, it's $3.
I know. I could do that 3 times.
Right. Don't forget something to drink. You probably need to wash it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, the bottle of water, I mean, the water's not expensive. Well,
No.
Riley, by the way, is the first golfer to hit the minus mark. He is 1 under through 2 holes.
Nice.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 golfers now on the course. They're at the Masters. The patrons loving the weather. It is gorgeous right now.
The patrons
at Augusta. Yes, you got to make sure you say patrons.
Yeah, I know.
Just so people know, and I know people love. We did this with the college basketball season. We did this with we did it with college football. It's all about the SEC, right? And how they dominate everything. Well, just to say and to turn the Masters into a conference showdown. The SEC, by the way, has 18 players in the Masters, most of any conference. The ACC has 14, the Big 12 10, and the Big 10 7. Georgia leads the field with 7 golfers from the Southeastern Conference. Texas and Alabama have 3. Florida has 2. LSU, Auburn, and Arkansas have 1. So there you go. Just in case you wanted a conference breakdown. There you go. There you have it.
More SEC dominance.
I was just going to say, but the ACC does not have its loneliest number
1
at the Masters.
We played that yesterday by Metallica 1.
Yes, or 3.
Well, wait a minute. Did you say they had 3 in this though?
No, they have 7.
7.
No, what did I just say? They have 14.
14.
14
they have
golfers.
14 and the SEC has 18.
Yes. The SEC dominates this stuff.
I gotcha.
Just like they do everything else.
Yeah.
Except college football.
Yeah, I just had 3 as the magic number in my head. I'm sorry.
The Big Ten is the premier college football conference right now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You got to give it to them.
Yeah.
They've won 2 in a row. And I mean, you look at it, I don't know who you're going to say would be a favorite this year. I mean, Ohio State bought a team last year and won it.
Guys, the NFL.
Yeah. And you look around this year, and I don't know who in college football coming out of spring right now with the way the rosters are constructed.
Nobody knows. Like,
I don't know how you can say who is a favorite in college football right now.
It's even harder now to discern because of all these teams that have to come together and gel. I mean, you know, and sometimes they don't ever completely gel like an Ole Miss, even though you can tell they're very, very talented. So it's just, you know.
I tell you what, it's 7:27.
Speaking of somebody who knows how to gel a roster.
Yeah, and to make sure that we get 15 minutes in, he was gracious enough.
Yeah, tight schedule here.
He was gracious enough to text us.
Yes.
And say, hey, do you want me to come on this morning? Right. But we want to make sure we get a break in. Let's get one in because Lenny Acuff, new head coach, Samford University, will join us on the other side.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Scattered showers and thunderstorms through the course of the afternoon. Some of those could be on the stronger end of the spectrum. Biggest concern there going to be the threat for a little bit of hail and the threat for some gusty winds. Otherwise, temperatures climbing into the low and mid-70s, dropping into the mid-40s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Friday. We are going to be cooler across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only climbing into the low and mid-60s. A couple of scattered showers are going to be possible through Friday afternoon, but that activity is going to be somewhat difficult to come by. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They should be clearing that wreck. 36 in East Upper River. That's near Valamosa Springs in Morgan County. Picked up one Pulaski Pike and Prosperity Way. That one's being reported as an injury type, although it looks like they just canceled HIMSI on it. And we got a single vehicle coming in from Morgan County, 67 and Gum Pond Road. Possible injury there. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Braves roll into the 2025 season with a singular focus. Bring home the division title and remind the league what Atlanta is all about.
Swung on, driven to left center field and deep. That baby's out of here. Austin Riley. 3-0 to Olsen, and he powers one. Deep right center field to the wall. It's gonna fly. It's a home run. Back-to-back homers.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers, do you know which auto company employs the most hourly workers in America? Ford. Do you know which company assembles the most vehicles in this country? Ford. That's not just a coincidence. It's a commitment, a 120-year-old commitment to build in America for America. And during this unprecedented moment in automotive history, you stand to benefit big time. Woody Anderson Ford is now offering employee pricing. You pay what we pay. We've got over 190 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Employee pricing can save you thousands off MSRP, and with over 600 Fords for you to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find just exactly what you're looking for. This offer ends May 31st, so hurry in. Woody Anderson Ford.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Hey, there's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back to Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 7:32 on your Thursday morning. And so far, the first 30 minutes, we've managed to talk a little Masters as it is underway at Augusta National. Beautiful day over there to enjoy some egg salad and pimento cheese. We've also talked about the move of Hall of Fame head coach Lenny Acuff from Lipscomb, where he was the Bison's head coach, to Samford University, where he is now a Bulldog there in Homewood.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're honored to be joined now by the 30th head basketball coach in the history of the Samford University Bulldogs. Of course, he's been a lot to us. He was a star at J.O. Johnson High School for our good friend Danny Petty before going on a coaching odyssey that saw him come back home to his native Huntsville, Alabama, and rebuild the UAH Chargers into one of the best Division II programs in the country for 22 years. For 6 years at Lipscomb University, he took the Bison to the NCAA tournament this year. We talked to him before that, and now he will try to do the same, as he will try to keep going what Bucky McMillan has restarted at Samford University, and that's, of course, getting back to the NCAA tournament once again. And Lenny Acuff has been kind enough to join us with his busy schedule, because as that old adage is, drinking out of a fire hose when you're taking another job in the portal era, that's what you're doing. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Hey, guys. How are y'all? Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all so much. You know, you're my guys. And I had a chance to hop on with Steve yesterday for a few minutes, he and Wes. And so I try to be loyal. And so
yes, sir.
Thank you for having me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's all
thank
good, Coach,
you.
because we know you're very busy.
Yeah.
You're meeting with players. You're putting your staff together. Yeah.
How'd this all kind of start coming together?
Perfect storm.
Yeah, it is. It's really a crazy story. When I went to bed Saturday night, guys, I went to the Final Four. I actually talked to Bucky Saturday night. He called me about something else, and he had just taken the job at Texas A&M. I just assumed the next coach would be Mitch Cole, who's a good friend of mine, and
yes, sir.
love. And I just, when I went to bed Saturday night after Final Four, if you'd have said, what is the percentage that you will finish your career at Lipscomb, I would have said 99.9, because there was really only one job that I would consider leaving there for. I mean, obviously I'd have gone to a Power 4 school or something, but and Samford's it. And so when 6 o'clock Sunday morning, Martin Newton, the athletic director here at Samford, texted me and said, "Hey, can we have a conversation?" And I was like, "Oh man!" And so I just said, "Yeah, we can." And we met that afternoon. He was really, I really enjoyed getting to know. I've known him for a while, but spending time with him, and he kind of shared with me their vision, what they were looking for. The next day, I hopped on the Zoom with President Taylor here and Associate AD Corey Green, and then after that, they called and met again with Martin that afternoon, and it actually offered me the job then. But I told him, I would not take the job until I had an opportunity to talk to the people at Lipscomb and have a chance to visit with them and what they were thinking. And I'll say this: everybody at Lipscomb has been unbelievable to me. They did so much they really tried really hard to make it an opportunity for me to stay. And I've told everybody, I in no way am I leaving Lipscomb with any with any heart, that I didn't want to leave. I didn't. I had no intentions of leaving. I loved it there. They've been so good to my family. But this was an opportunity that I just couldn't pass up. I mean, first thing, sometimes in your life, what's best for your career and best for your family don't line up. Well, this time it did. And so, I told them on Tuesday night that I was going to take the job. And I'm telling you, I don't know if I had many days like the last 48 hours. It's been hard because I love those kids at Lipscomb, but I'm so excited to be here. I mean, my daughter Molly lives down the street from the school. She's actually expecting. It's not done yet, but there's a strong possibility I'm gonna hire Will, my son, to work with me. There's some things you got to jump through and all that, but that's the intention. This gets Kelly, my wife, 3.5 hours closer to her parents that live in Mobile. And so, that's the first thing. And that's the most important thing. And then the other thing, this is a great opportunity. It's a great job. And so that's kind of a long-winded version of it.
Yes, sir. The financial commitment is there from Samford. They want to invest in athletics. And Coach, I wanted to ask you this, though, because I followed your career since you came back from Berry to UAH. And I know, of course, you played here. You grew up here. But one guy that I know meant a lot to your career, and I wondered if you ask him for some mentorship in this situation to take the job. But he was an institution there. Have you spoken to Jimmy Tillett? I know Jimmy, he taught you so much in coaching.
He did.
And I know he had a great run there at Samford.
Actually, Scott, Drew, Jimmy is just what he's meant to me. There's no words, but Jimmy's in really bad health.
Oh, okay. I did not know
had
that.
a hard go of it. Yeah. And so he's had a rough go of it, but he's hanging in there. And, but I have a ton of ties to Samford. And, when I was at UAH, as an assistant 37 years ago, one of the first guys I signed was Mike Morris.
Yeah, that's
right. I coached him 1 year at UAH, and then he came to work for me at Belhaven and at Berry. Well, then Mike came to Samford and was here for 25 years. He was a women's coach.
Mm-hmm.
And, John Brady was the coach many years ago that I knew well. And obviously, and Bucky's a dear friend. I just have so much respect for Bucky and everything he did here. It's incredible what he's done. And you guys know Bucky operates differently now. And, he's won everywhere he's been. And so I just have so many ties here, and some of my best friends on earth live within 2 or 3 miles of the school. Guys are in my wedding and college, and the other thing that's really been nice is just hear from all the high school coaches in Alabama that I have so many relationships with, and so many good friends that, that hopefully I've have been able to help, and they've helped me. And, it's just Alabama's home. It's just home. And that's a special thing to be able to do this and in your home state. And my level of gratitude and excitement is beyond belief.
Yeah, and now comes the hard part, Coach. Now you got to build this team. And when we say build it, because of the current state of college basketball, the state that we're in, and everybody knows the NIL stuff. I'm not talking about the state of Alabama, but the state and the condition of college basketball. You literally now have to build a roster.
Yeah, it's seriously, guys, it is overwhelming. There's so many moving parts to this, and they've only got one kid that didn't go in the portal. And I talked to him yesterday, Zion Wilburn, and we had a really good conversation. He's coming back. I'm working really, really hard to keep as many of the kids as I can. And I think there's a possibility that's going to happen. But, they've got to do what's best for them too, and I understand. But yes, you're trying to do that. You're trying to figure out your coaching staff. And, I'm really hoping one of my assistants gets the job at Lipscomb. And, if he doesn't, those guys are going to come with me. That's the way this thing's going to work. But if he does, there's going to be several spots on the staff. And, yesterday I talked to my team we did it at 10 o'clock, and that was very hard. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed our team there last year and the kind of kids we had. And you guys watched us play. They were awesome.
Yeah,
and they're
yes.
just the best kids. And that was not near our most talented team at Lipscomb, but boy, they were a good team. And that was really hard, but it should be hard. If it's not hard, then something's wrong. And so after, as I'm talking, I shouldn't have took my phone in there and I had it on silent, but that thing it got announced. But they announced it at both places while I was talking to them, and it wasn't a big secret. I think most people knew it was going to happen. But by the time I got in my car, because I left straight from school to come down here, I think I was like at 450 texts, and a lot of those guys want jobs, and so now, believe me, that number has gone well beyond 450, and so and that's a real credit to Sanford, and it's a lot of people need jobs and want jobs, and so you're trying to figure all that out, but we're going to get there. And I told him, I said, one thing that's a little unique about this, when I went to Lipscomb, when Casey Alexander went to Belmont,
yes, sir,
it was not this destitute, but they had lost the most points in the history of college basketball off that team. And so I've traveled this road a little bit before, and I inherited 7 or 8 guys, but none of which had played very much other than one guy. And we figured it out, and we got to the championship game that year. And so I told him, when I told Martin and Dr. Taylor, you don't have a parade every time you win a game, and you don't need to have a funeral when you lose one. It takes time. It takes time. And so we're going to hang in there. We're going to get it right. And this is, it's been a while since I've been on their campus. The last time I was here, we played in the championship game. I think my last year at Huntsville, which was 6 years ago.
Wow.
And it was always nice, but my goodness, God, I know you come down here every year for the UH Invitational in March, and for the conference tournament. There's a wow factor to this place now. It is some kind of nice.
It really is.
Well, Coach, you mentioned Bucky McMillan's name, but Bucky McMillan really helped kind of elevate this Sanford job to be a little bit better than what it was maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, he did. And hopefully that's the way the Huntsville job was when I left, it's
right.
There's some consistency there. And I don't mean that to be self-promoting. It's just as you advance it, the job's not the same. And I've told everybody this, I have no interest in replacing Bucky. Nobody's going to replace Bucky. But what I do have interest in is keeping Sanford at the top of the Southern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
That's my charge. I'm not going to be Bucky. I told those guys, that yesterday. I said I'm not Bucky, and I'm not going to try to be Bucky. And I mean that with the utmost respect. But what I do have the opportunity to do, and what we're going to work real hard to do, is continue to win and continue to do it the right way. And that's what my job is. And I'm very comfortable in that. I have no illusions of grandeur in trying to be Bucky McMillan. And again, I say that with all the respect in the world, because what he did here is absolutely unbelievable.
It is. And finally, Coach, it's a great conference. The Southern Conference, one of the best mid-major leagues in the country. The A-Sun certainly has gotten better each year. You were there. Great league. But you got guys like Bob Ritchie at Furman. This is a really high-level basketball league you're joining.
It is. I think they said last year they finished 11th or 12th, in the country in KenPom. And it's been together for so long. There's so much tradition with all the transition in college athletics. This is one of the leagues at this level that is stuck together, and it's well ran, and basketball is really important, and there's great interest, and so I'm excited to be a part of that, and really thankful, and God has blessed my family and myself beyond belief, and looking forward to it, and we just got to get through the next 30 days the best we can, and we're going to do that, and but there's a lot of interest too, and when you call kids, and Lord knows I've talked to a bunch of them in the last 2 days, is that there's a lot of interest in coming to school here. Now you just got to find the right one and make it work.
Well, we certainly are excited for you, Coach. And this is a league that just won the NIT as well with Chattanooga. So this is exciting. And we know you can take the Sanford program and continue to take that torch and get them back to the highest levels of college basketball. And you've worked for this opportunity. You've always done everything the right way. And we were very, very excited and happy for you. And our last second hour yesterday was interesting.
We tried not to give it away, but
we weren't
giving it away.
But we were
hinting.
Some big news is coming.
Well, you know how much I think of you guys and how proud I am of you. And I'm glad I'm going to get to see a lot more of you.
Yes,
It's good
sir.
to be back in Alabama, and I'll be back around a lot more. So, and obviously there's a lot of good players at Huntsville, and maybe they can make Birmingham home.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Coach. You never forget. I mean, we talk a lot about how good the high school basketball here is in the state of Alabama. We're really proud of the North Alabama high school basketball, and it's good to have you back in this area.
And we will look forward to seeing you soon, Coach.
Yep. All right, guys. You guys have a great day. Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Coach. That's Lenny Agoff. Awesome stuff, man.
Man, and he's right though. I mean, and it's hard. Lots of times you get coaches, and especially even in this business,
right,
you get so caught up in the moves and where you want to be and everything. But in the end of the day, it's all about family. And for him, being right there when you're going to have your first grandchild, and you're going to be moments away, like minutes away versus hours away. That's
your son,
that's a huge difference.
You're potentially a part of it, as he said.
Yes,
We'll let
and
it go.
yes.
Great young coach.
Yeah. All right, let's get that break in. We're gonna wrap up hour one next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like they've cleared that wreck at Pulaski Pike and Prosperity Way as a no injury. At 67 in Gum Pond in Morgan County. Haven't heard an update on that one. Got one at the 3120 Y. It's actually east of the Y. I think it's going to be about RV World. They pulled it off in a parking lot. Got 31 southbound near Kelly Spring. No report of injury there. And we got one in Scottsboro, 79 southbound at County Road 757. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beams likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship Jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's club repair shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your club will be returned to you in a timely manner, unmatched in the North Alabama area. It is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
I've had my I feel like we are the champions today because this whole first hour is completely it's completely unplanned.
Yeah, and now we have another champion on.
We woke up this morning. We didn't know we were going to have Lenny Acuff on the show.
No.
Lenny Acuff texted us literally at the start of the show and said, hey, I can come on this morning if you want me.
I mean,
Well,
he's drinking out of a fire hose, so I wasn't going to impose until later.
Yeah.
But we will definitely take that. That was unbelievable.
And so then we are literally in the middle of the Lenny Acuff interview.
Right.
And we get a phone call here in the station.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner of our bracket challenge called in and said, hey, you want me on?
Yeah.
I'm here.
He was in the 99.9% percentile, I guess.
Is that good?
Well, yeah, I would think so.
Intimidator 67 joins us now on the phone lines. Are the winner of our Talent Heating and Air 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge. He did it.
Yeah,
he did it.
Congratulations, sir.
Hey, great to hear.
Yeah, you won. I mean, you were in such a rarefied air as far as the ESPN national contest. But how many picks did you miss totally in your bracket?
I think there was 9 picks that were.
I got you.
9.
Wow, only 9. Okay.
What is it? 60 some games?
Yeah.
That is.
I mean, I got the champ right, but I certainly didn't have the opponent. I had Duke, but you were drilling it because we had another good friend of ours, David Sharp, who was in the top 6,000. I mean, when you're getting in that percentile, you're way up there.
So what made Florida the choice for you?
Right.
Well, when I saw Florida and I'm an Alabama fan.
Right.
So when I saw Florida and Alabama play in the SEC tournament,
mm-hmm.
I just said, they play almost exactly like Alabama, but they did it better. So I was like, I'm taking Florida all the way.
Well, you are my friend. John, what does the first place winner get? We've got so many prizes that I've kind of forgotten.
A cavalcade of stuff.
We do. We got a cavalcade. So, here we go. What is Intimidator 67 going to bring home?
All right. Well, I gotta let me pull up the sheet that says.
See, it's
everything.
a lot of stuff.
It is a lot. I'll have it for you right.
I know.
Now I got
there
it.
we
All
go.
right.
Same.
So the possible winnings and the for sure winnings. Overnight stay at the lodge at Gunnersville State Park.
Right.
Foursome at Cherokee Ridge Country Club, and food at some of North Alabama's most popular spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go, bud. You are raking home the prizes.
Yeah, you'll be well compensated for your brilliance.
Great. I appreciate that.
No problem. We appreciate you entering and taking part in our contest, and we appreciate everyone for doing that. I my last couple years, and I'm not even eligible, were brutal, but I had a pretty decent bracket this year, but not as good as yours, my friend.
Well, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
I had 25 brackets. One bracket only had 300 points.
Oh, well, see, I will say this. I'm old school. I only do one bracket. So many people do so many brackets. How many different pools were you in besides ours?
I was in 2 and then just on the ESPN.
I got
One was just a work pool.
Okay.
Okay. Nice. Well, we appreciate it, and we appreciate Talent Heating and Air. We appreciate all our sponsors, and you're getting well compensated, and you'll have a great time over at Gunnersville State Park, and Cherokee Ridge is beautiful, man. They're Pete and all those guys are continuing to improve that course, and we're going to be there soon on the 21st this month for our annual Make-A-Wish Foundation golf tournament, and Cherokee Ridge, there's not a more beautiful place in North Alabama. So you and your friends will enjoy that.
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Bud. Thanks for calling in this morning. And John, I'm sure he got all of his information as well.
Yes, sir.
So big old prize pack headed your way. Thanks, Bud.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
There it is. Intimidator 67.
Hey, he was even on hold. There you go.
90. He said Florida plays like Alabama, but Florida played better. Better.
And they were better. I saw them play Alabama twice, and it just, again, that felt like Alabama, the two teams that Alabama could not beat this year were Florida and Duke. And, Duke Heimlicked it up, in the last 8 minutes against, a really, really good Houston team. Congrats to Coach Bobby Champagne, Kelvin Sampson, and all them. But again, it wasn't meant to be for Duke this year, but they were a very good team. But I thought Florida was the best team I really saw all year when they were locked in. They were the deepest. And, Walter Clayton, I thought was the best guard in college basketball. And, I think maybe some people in the NBA might be sobering up a little bit. So I heard his stock is on the mercurial rise. I would hope so, considering how what the level that he played at. And, and again, it's not easy to win national championships. I think it's one of the hardest, if not the hardest.
No, I think so.
In sports. And so congratulations to Intimidator 67, correct?
Intimidator 67 brings home this year's prize. I tell you what, that was a fun first hour. We didn't know anything that we were going to do. We didn't know anything that we were going to talk about, but we figured it out because, everybody just decided they wanted to join us. We got 3, 4, 5 golfers at 1 under at the Masters. Fill you in on that. And Jack Knowlton. We'll talk Alabama basketball coming up next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
Scotty Scheffler steps up to the tee box today as a 4-1 favorite to win the Masters at Augusta National. Rory McIlroy, the second choice at plus 650. John Rahm, 13-1. Collin Morikawa, 18-1. Denny Hamlin heads to Bristol as a 4-1 favorite to win the Food City 500. Kyle Larson plus 450. Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, both plus 650. Chase Elliott plus 850. Trey Turner, a tie-breaking home run in the 9th inning as the Phillies beat the Braves 4-3 yesterday as a $1.20 underdog. Philadelphia today plus 105 at Atlanta minus 125, 8 under the total. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Yep, Sportsman Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, putting the ball on the tee or throwing the ball in the air or doing whatever they want to do to help us kick off hour number 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 256-881-5151. If you want to experience that sports med difference, just pick up the phone, give them a call. If you got any of those nicks and bruises, or if you were out for a jog, playing some basketball, maybe you shouldn't have been playing because, well, you shouldn't have been doing it at that age. Well, just go ahead and give them a call. I mean, a lot of people think sometimes we feel like we're 20, but we're not anymore. And so sometimes you wake up in the morning and you hurt. It happens.
We have pickleball legends here.
Yes. And sometimes you got to know when to stop. After 4 hours on the course, you got to realize that that's enough. And so 256-881-5151, if you need to get all those nicks and kinks worked out, they'll take care of you. I promise. sportsmanalabama.com. We talked about it. We hinted at it, not hinted at it. We touched on it, the very tip of the iceberg of it, but Jaron Stevenson from Alabama basketball puts his name in the portal. That's another one. But there's one big one, and you mentioned it, LeBaron Philon. That's the name that a lot of people are still kind of wanting to know what's going to happen, what's the deal there. Still don't know yet, do we?
No, we don't know completely what's going to happen there. Darion Reed as well. That's really the final two pieces of what was part of the this past season's roster for Alabama that have not declared their intention to either enter the NBA draft, the transfer portal, or return to the University of Alabama. We're going to talk about that and more. Recruiting going on A-Day this weekend as well. He works for Tide Illustrated. He does a great job covering basketball, recruiting, football, and of course that's Jack Knowlton. And he's been kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to talk about the latest developments with this Alabama basketball program. Jack, you're with Drew and Scott. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. Doing good. How are y'all?
Good. And I don't think anyone was stunned with what happened with Jaron Stevenson yesterday afternoon. I think everyone was waiting for the shoe to drop, either for him to return or to move on. I think everyone knew that this could happen. I've seen some strong hints that by the end of the season, you had the Mo Diabates of the world, Jaron Stevenson, Darion Reed, that it was likely that only one of these would return to the University of Alabama and come back just because of where we are in this crazy portal era. But your thoughts on Jaron Stevenson's departure?
Yeah, I think you're spot on with the notion that it was probably only going to be one of the three of them who came back. It obviously hurts to lose anybody, but Jaron obviously, especially in his freshman year, had some really standout moments. Certainly that Clemson game will not be forgotten by anyone in a hurry. But I think Alabama had already got a relatively like for like player in this portal when they landed Taylor Bowen from Florida State. I think he does a lot of what Jaron did, or probably more so what Alabama wanted Jaron to do a little bit more consistently, which, he's a stretch big at 6'10", he's a little bit longer, can kind of defend multiple positions. And Jaron, showed that in flashes, but ultimately it probably didn't have the consistency that he needed to have. And the writing was probably on the wall a little bit for him in terms of minutes for next season. So he can go elsewhere and probably get a bigger role. But yeah, not overly shocking, but not a massive loss, I don't think either.
You look now, and this is, we were talking about it in hour one. College basketball teams basically reconstruct their roster every year now. You're going to get maybe 3 or 4 guys, if that come back. The rest are going to be new pieces. And so if you're Nate Oates, you get a chance to sit back and say, you know what? I like the style that we're doing. I like what we're doing. But if we only had some different pieces, and I think length is the piece that Alabama said. You look at how they're reconstructing this roster, there's a lot of length coming in, especially at the guard spot.
Yeah, that is definitely the theme of this offseason. And I think, that is the byproduct when you play a Duke team where the shortest starter on the floor is 6'5", and for as talented as Mark Sears was, I think he was a little bit overwhelmed offensively by that kind of length. And I think Alabama, does want to get longer, want to get bigger across the board. And I think they are doing that in this portal. I mean, like you mentioned, some of the other additions, they obviously, beefed up the center position, adding Noah Williamson. I think that was a great depth get for them. I don't think Nato wants to mess around anymore with only having one true big. We saw some of the problems that caused in 2 seasons ago where, yes, they made the Final Four, but a lot of games you had a lot of, front court problems when, Nick Pringle would get into foul trouble. It was who do you turn to? I thought that was a good ahead. And then Jaleel Bethea, too, a 6'5" guard, who I think people should look beyond his stats last season. He played for a bad Miami team that lost its coach in December. You have to think that affects the freshman guard pretty heavily, but he brings a good amount of length too. And some of the guys they're bringing back too, I think, like a Houston Millett's a taller guard. I think that has absolutely been the theme of the portal, and it's the right one, because I think you look at this Final Four, and that's what not only Duke had, but a lot of these teams that were competing at that championship level had. They were kind of tall across the board and versatile, and I think that's what Alabama's trying to get to.
No question about that. I think you're right about that, Jack. And you mentioned him briefly, but your thoughts on what you've seen and how you think the fit is with Tyler Bowen.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit. I think, it's interesting. His 3-point percentage jumped a lot from his freshman year to his sophomore year. He was about 21% his freshman year and up at 40 his sophomore year. Sometimes when I look at portal guys and I see that, it makes me hesitate a little bit. Like, will they regress a little bit back closer to that first year number, or how much can they sustain that? But it certainly shows that he can improve, and he's still a relatively young player going into his 3rd season, or I guess at least relatively young by today's standards, right? Where you have guys playing 6-7 years, but he can shoot a little bit. I think he's a good rebounder, and the shot blocking is really stands out. He averaged like 1.5 blocks per game for kind of like the Bethea with Miami, a bad Florida State team. I think if he can get anywhere close to that number, even be at that like 1 block per game range for Alabama, I think that gives you a lot more defensively, alongside an Aiden Sherrill in a really tall front court. And then they're both guys, frankly, that can stretch it a little bit and open things up offensively with their shooting ability. I like that for them.
We talked a little bit about it. Drew kind of talked a little bit about it, but what have you heard, and what is the latest with LeBaron Philon?
Yeah, to me, it's really interesting that he has not announced announced any declaration for the draft yet. Obviously, as we all know, you can declare for the NBA draft, no problem, and still keep your eligibility. The deadline to withdraw, I believe, is the 22nd or 23rd of May for the NCAA. So, you can go through that process, no problem. We saw Mark Sears, Grant Nelson do it. So to me, it's intriguing he has not done that yet. I saw even you go over to Auburn, someone like Todd Pettiford, I think, declared for the draft the day after they were knocked out of the Final Four. And usually that is often the case. Players make that announcement fairly quickly and declare what their intentions are. So it's interesting to me he hasn't done that yet, which gives me a feeling more. I don't have any super big intel here, but makes me think a little bit more like maybe is he considering just a return. But I know the latest ESPN mock draft did not include him in it at all in their 2-rounder. So it still seems like he's in that kind of 2nd round pick range. The question is, does it creep high enough to that top 40 kind of level where that money becomes guaranteed and it's a little bit more of a decision? But it's interesting to me. I think the biggest thing that he hasn't yet announced any intentions to declare, and so we'll see how it goes. I think the longer that holds off, the more I think a comeback to Alabama is even more on the table.
And the funny thing about the wings we talked about at the start of our conversation with we talked about Mo Diabate now gone to Kentucky, Jaron Stevenson. I still think it's a high probability he ends up back home at North Carolina. But Darion Reed, and it seemed like during the season with his injuries and lack of availability, he might be the first one in the portal, but he has not gone into the transfer portal. And it seems to me and you saw enough of him, especially early in the season before he suffered, the hamstring injury. He showed a lot of potential. He could be a guy that I think could make a big jump next year. I've said this, Jack, looking at the way the roster is being built, that if you get LeBaron Philon back, you get Darion Reed, those two guys could be your two potentially your biggest building blocks, along with Aiden Sherrill. I think that Darion Reed right now is definitely a priority by Alabama to keep.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting what you just said, right? Their three biggest players could be Philon, Sherrill, and Reed, all players they recruited the old-fashioned way on the trail, not added in the transfer portal. So in this, kind of era, it's roster continuity to that extent is still super important. And you're right. I don't think you can be knocked for your assessment of thinking he might enter the portal with kind of an up and down season, but also, yeah, the potential he flashed when he was healthy. When he was able to come back for the NCAA tournament, I think had some really good moments in limited minutes. And I don't think it was limited because of his skill set. It was just this guy hasn't played in a while, has to get up to speed. And so, yeah, that would be a huge addition to have him back. I think, again, he's versatile, fits that profile, especially defensively. I know there's some questions about the jump shooting. I think a lot of that is down to, again, a lack of consistency in playing time. You saw that with Grant Nelson too when he was injured. It just means they can't get in the gym and work on their shot as much as they'd like to in practice. And for a guy who's not an automatic 3-point shooter, that's an important thing to be able to do. So I think if he has a fully healthy season, you'll see a growth offensively, and obviously the defense has spoken for itself last year. I think he's a tough shot maker. I think he fits the profile perfectly for what Alabama is looking to do next year.
Is there someone, Jack, that we Alabama fans, basketball fans, should be kind of? I know there's 3,000 guys in the portal, but is there another name that Alabama might have interest in?
It's a good question. There's a couple they've been on the hot board for. I think truly they are waiting for a couple more decisions to be made. The one I do turn to right now that has been sort of a name out there since the beginning is Deron Pierre Jr., the guy from Jacksonville State, really talented guard. They are going to need somebody to be that lead guard if Philon goes.
Right,
I think they do need that premier playmaker. And it might be a case of, we're still, 10 plus days away from the portal entry date closing. So there's still guys that can enter. It could be a case where, maybe it's a guy that hasn't even gone in yet or is still making a decision himself. But I think to me, that is the priority position, especially if they get Reed back. I think their front court is pretty well shored up, just given the depth. You've got the 3 freshmen coming in. I know they're changing to that 15-player scholarship limit, but I really don't think Alabama is going to go higher than 13 or 12 guys. There just really is no point to that. That's a lot of mouths to feed minutes-wise, and obviously a lot of NIL to pay out. So I think it is someone along those point guard range. Pierre's an interesting name, but I think, again, it'll come down to the decision, and I think the number one thing they'd want is just having LeBaron back. That would be the easiest thing, of course.
And then you mentioned Jalil Bethea. I agree with you. I think they wanted him out of high school. He was definitely a priority. His length, his athleticism, I think he's another one like Aiden Holloway that could be an outstanding fit for Nate Oates. But when this commitment happened, I really thought that might close the door on Ryland Griffin, who I know was receiving some buzz for maybe potentially returning.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they liked Bethea, and those guys are obviously similar. Ryland's got a little bit more experience. We know what he did on that Final Four team, but it's just a matter of, how much room do you have for playing time here? I mean, you have to think about some of these other guys who are coming back, or Reitzel, Millette, Holloway, like you said. You've got a couple guys I know in Davion Hanna and Amari Allen, who I know Oates sees as kind of bigger guard.
Right.
Can they make an impact year one and have an off season like Philon did to sort of break out? So yeah, it just becomes more of a matter of minutes thing. And again, I think Bethea was a good guy to prioritize. I really think he can be good at this level. He just, was not on a good team that had a coaching change, and that's never going to do well for a freshman.
Well, and then one final name that it raised my eyebrows yesterday, only because I followed his entire journey. I saw him play in high school, know his high school coach. And I thought he had a breakout year for Chris Jans, but Keyshawn Murphy's name when he went into the portal yesterday kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit.
Yeah, he's another one for sure that could be, if they do want to add a guy to I guess fully replace Jaron Stevenson, or maybe if Reed ends up transferring, he's for sure a guy who could fit the mold. I mean, it's 6'10", just kind of bruiser forward, 11 and 7 rebounds. I don't think Nate's going to complain about any of that. He does a lot of the things Mohamed Diabate did as well. So you miss out on a Corey Chest. Maybe you go and get this guy if you're able, and can give him a decent role. So yeah, he's definitely one to watch. I think he fits that profile as a kind of a bit of a bruiser, a little bit more height than a guy like Diabate.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, A-Day is going to be a little different this year, Jack. It's going to be an open practice. I mean, I'm already getting messages this morning because I know they're scrimmaging today. This will be the final scrimmage of fall camp, or excuse me, I knew I'd say that spring camp, number 2 under Kalen DeBoer. But your thoughts on the upcoming A-Day coming up? It'll be a lot different than we're accustomed.
Yeah, it will be. And I think, on field, you're still going to be able to see some interesting things. I think people will hopefully still get to enjoy watching the players on the field. I'll say this, and I went on another show and said this too, from a recruiting standpoint, at least, A-Day is very much the same in terms of there are going to be a lot of top prospects on campus. A couple of commits are returning. Jordan Edmonds and Zion Gibson will be back. I know the number one, or a really known name in the state of Alabama, people will know, is Xavier Crowell, the top running back, will be there. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think they're going to have close to 20 visitors, and probably even more than that get confirmed in the next couple of hours here. So that from that perspective, it hasn't changed. But yeah, I think you're right. It is a bummer. It's not a true game. I get the logic to an extent of injury and all that stuff, but yeah, I think it'll still be an enjoyable watch. And from a recruiting standpoint, it's still a very big weekend, one of their bigger ones in terms of setting yourself up for a lot of those summer commitments that are going to happen.
Yeah, no question. Well, good stuff, Jack. And just let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at Tide Illustrated and what you have going on.
Yeah, alabama.rivals.com is our site. We'll have plenty of coverage in the next few days here leading up to A-Day, and obviously we've got all the basketball stuff. Any news that drops will be on it, and have some intel from scrimmages and stuff like that as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get that break in. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Still got a couple of wrecks showing now. We picked up a new one, 72 westbound at Boylan in Athens, and we got 53 southbound at Kelly Spring. It may still be trying to clear. Everything else from earlier should be out of the way now. Do your methods to lose weight no longer work for you? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com.
Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states will work as before. See website for detail.
It's laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. Tired of that washer walking out the door and having to dry a load 2 or 3 times? It's time for a new washer and dryer. Pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and of course, Speed Queen. Try the new 2-in-1 GE Profile that washes and dries a load all in one machine. Visit the interactive location in Lacey Springs where you can try the washers and dryers before you buy them. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio. And have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
Sports Talk 24/7, 365. Your full-time sports station.
You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Doesn't anyone do any work around this joint anymore?
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Zach Johnson and Chris Kirk, 2 under through 4 at the Masters. They're leading it. Zach Johnson, he knows a thing or two about bringing home some majors.
He does.
One of the conversations that we've had this week, and Mark from Spring Hill asked us out of the gates, I think it was yesterday too, about the whole thing of college football teams. Because you got A-Day coming up for both Alabama and Auburn. It's going to look so different, completely different. It's going to be an hour and a half practice, I believe, down on the plains. It's going to be an hour practice for Alabama inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. You're going to have your autograph sessions. If you want to be a member of the collectives and pay money, you can get autographs and that kind of stuff. Mike Elko was asked yesterday about these joint scrimmages, these practices. And we've said there's a lot of college football coaches that are on board with this. We know Deion Sanders is. We know Syracuse, they're on board. Some other coaches are on it. Mike Elko, not on board with it. And here's why.
I think it's extremely challenging in college football to do things like that. I think, one, that it's wild that nobody's discussing is class. Not exactly sure how you can do a joint practice for a week while your kids are in class. I'd have a heck of a time trying to convince my kids to go to Lubbock or Waco or anywhere during spring break. So I don't know how fired up they would be about any of those opportunities. And that's no disrespect to those cities, but so that part of it is a challenge. I think in college, so many programs have different philosophies of what practice looks like. How you protect players, how you take care of players, like how you actually go about practicing. You'd want to make sure and try to identify that you found somebody who philosophically was on the same page as you. Then if you end it all with a game, then to me that pulls away a little bit from a development standpoint, what you're trying to get done in the spring. Because the second we have to play a game, then obviously we have to win, or you guys are all mad at me. So that means you got a game plan and you got to and so you're out of the mode of fundamental development, fundamental improvement, because you immediately have to shift gears into game planning and that part of it, and so I think it's in theory something that people are conversing on, and that's great. I just think the reality of it is maybe not quite as simple as it's being led to believe by the media.
There you go.
Some good points.
Don't count Mike Elko in that camp of wanting to have joint spring stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to have spring practice and spring break comes up, most of the players are going to want time off. They're not going to want to go to Lubbock and practice.
Or as he said, Waco. You're not gonna sell them on going to Waco for spring break.
We're going to practice for a week. Yay.
Yeah, we're gonna
trust me. If you talk to West neighbors enough about how much players love spring practice, they don't. Okay. They don't love practice. So I think Coach Elko brought up some very valid points. It goes also back to what Hugh Freeze has talked about, which is the June OTA type stuff,
right?
Which might end up,
being
limiting
better
spring practice as well.
And he's right too, because the moment and I thought about this, the moment we attach the word game to anything,
and if you lose, even if it doesn't count, it's utter panic.
Isn't it? I mean, can you imagine if
I can imagine message board just blowing up? We got to fire our coach because we lost our spring game and we look like meta muffins. We better fire him now and just get it over with.
If Alabama did a joint with UAB, because it's close, and UAB and Trent Dilfer, who, by the way, so far has not proven to coach his way out of a sandbox.
We like Trent, but it was ugly last year. It was tough.
I mean, he is in a win or go home mode this year, no doubt. We thought that last year. But can you imagine if UAB came over to Tuscaloosa for a spring game and UAB on the scoreboard had more points, even though it doesn't matter? Can you imagine the backlash Kalen DeBoer would get? Or if Troy came over to Auburn and Hugh Freeze went, I mean, they'd go through the same thing. Can you imagine if
no, I can imagine
Georgia State came up to Athens and –
well, this is a smaller scale, but I can remember when, quote unquote, it was a secret scrimmage because they have those in basketball.
Yeah.
And it was over at Coleman Coliseum, and they leaked out the stat sheet, and Jacksonville State had beaten Alabama by 30. And I remember myself and other basketball diehards thinking, oh, no, this is not good. I understand probably everybody didn't play, but my goodness gracious. I mean, this is when I knew Avery Johnson was in deep yogurt. I was like, there's no way that should be happening, man. None with your roster. I mean, Jackson State has a good basketball program. Ray Harper had a really good year this year, almost won CUSA.
Right.
But when you're beating Alabama by 30, there's some problems. Okay. And it didn't make a ton of national headlines just simply because it was basketball. Now, can you imagine if that were football, what Nicole Auerbach and some of these other idiots would be doing if Alabama, like you just mentioned, lost 35-20 to UAB?
Yeah. I'm just saying
would be DEFCON 5. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
There'd be emergency podcasts and
because you're attaching the word the word game to it. So you have a spring game with UAB.
Why, if this ever happens, I think it's going to be a practice type situation. There's not going to be a game, accosted to it. It's going to be an attached. It's going to be
right.
Practice.
They're going to scrimmage behind closed doors.
Oh, well, so and so had a great practice. That's what you'll hear. But I can't imagine. And then I don't think mid-major coaches, we're bringing up if they played against an Alabama or whatever, because networks would want to televise it. And then even with the transfer portal being closed, if it was in the spring, they wouldn't want to be having their players, their high-level guys, being televised. And because, what was Mark from Spring Hill talking about? Tampering is how do you deal with tampering?
Right.
Well, hell, it goes on now all the time. And, our good friend John Schulman even poked, fun at Bruce Pearl because they played, UAH played Auburn and Chaney Johnson ends up at Auburn. So there you go. It's a slippery slope.
Well, and remember too, I think, and Bruce Pearl even talked about it. Remember, Auburn played Morehead State.
Yeah.
And Janai Broome, they had gotten an early look. I believe it was Broome that they got an early look at way back in the day too. And they did the same thing with Chaney Johnson, as you mentioned. All right. As we mentioned, the Masters is underway. Zach Johnson, by the way, those two are playing together. Chris Kirk and Zach Johnson are in the same trio there at the Masters. They are right now through 4, and they are both 2 under at the Masters. When we come back, our good friend Charlie Plott, old Charles Plott, going to join us.
Yeah, John, we need some Masters music.
I've got that. I've got the Masters theme. I've got it, baby.
Hello, friends.
Oh, man, I tell you what, some of their videos they put out in the last 24 hours. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. It'll make you cry.
Yeah.
All right. We got to get a break in, because when we come back, Charles Plott will talk Masters next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, and Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman, temperatures drop into the mid-40s as we head into the overnight. And as we head into your Thursday, scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to build in across the Tennessee Valley, especially as we head into Thursday afternoon. Some of those thunderstorms could be on the stronger end of the spectrum. The biggest concern there going to be the threat for a little bit of hail and the threat for some gusty winds. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-70s Thursday afternoon, dropping into the mid-40s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Friday. Temperatures hanging out in the low and mid-60s. And Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still showing 2 accidents. We got 53 southbound at Kelly Spring, and we got 72 westbound at Boylan in Athens. Both of those should be clearing pretty quick. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WCZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It is underway. The Masters Augusta National. 4 beautiful days of golf. Of course, the fun all got started this morning. Honorary starters, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, Tom Watson. Got the 2025 Masters tournament underway. Beautiful weather there at Augusta this morning. And the more I see it, I had friends text me this week saying that they had fun. They'd won the lottery. And they'd got to go over, a couple of them got to go over yesterday for the par 3 contest. Some of them got to go over on Tuesday, and some of them got to go over on Monday. So still have yet to win the Masters lottery, but one of these years we'll do it. And I saw people got in trouble. They bought some tickets off third-party stuff, and they got banned. Masters was like, yep, never banned.
You can't buy them.
You got to win the lottery. That's the only way I'm going, is if I win the lottery. I got to win the Masters lottery.
You can be given
a
patron's pass.
Yes, you can be given a patron's pass, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
There are no fans at Augusta. There's only patrons.
Well, our next guest has been to Augusta. He's always our go-to when it comes to the golf, the game of golf, and especially the majors, the Ryder Cup, anything going on in that great game. Of course, he does a great job with plot performance. With the mental game, not just with golf, but with athletics as a whole. But he's definitely our go-to guy golf-wise. We're talking about Charlie Plott, and he's been kind enough to join us and talk about, I think, the best 4 days in golf that have already been, as you heard, Scott, well underway, hopefully with much better weather than earlier in the week.
Well, right now, Noah Kent, the amateur, has joined Kirk and Zach Johnson atop the leaderboard at 2 under.
There you go. Scott he's telling you earlier in the show that there's going to be somebody that has that round.
Yep.
That opener on Thursday. Charlie, how you doing this morning, man?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. How about you two?
We're doing well, man. We certainly
the greatest 4 days of golf.
Yeah, it's. I know you thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's truly wide open. The game of golf right now is going through a transition. We know Tiger Woods is on the back end of his career, and he's having health issues. He's had a lot of them over the last decade or so. So you never know year to year if you're going to see him. And I think that's one of the coolest things. Like when I was able to send my father to the Masters, it was the last time Tiger won, which was pretty amazing. So now my father did not go. It was on a Friday, I believe, that he was not there on the weekend, but Tiger went on to win the tournament. And that was kind of an unexpected year. That was kind of reminded me of Jack Nicklaus in '86 when Tiger was able to channel everything, put it together, and be healthy enough to win it. But Charlie, it's another great 4 days ahead of us.
It is, and I was looking at the weather in Augusta. They may get a little bit of rain tomorrow. Already, you see the scoring. People are birdieing 1 and 2, and it tells me that it's probably gettable today. And if we have a little rain, you may have 2 or 3 days where people can shoot a number. Just so many folks are 1 under just quickly. So you saw, Fred Couples, he's my go-to here.
Oh, yeah.
In his 40th Masters.
40th. Wow.
40th.
And he's playing with, I believe, a yellow ball, too.
You don't see too many guys do that.
Freddie.
Oh, okay.
Well, so much for Freddie. That ruins it for me right there.
Well, maybe he'll get a ride. Maybe Freddie will get a ride in Bernhard Longer's Mercedes. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I back in the day, Jerry Pate was one of my favorite golfers, and then all of a sudden he teed up with an orange golf ball, and that just kind of did it in. It's like I can't handle the non-traditional approach. I think it's going to be, as Drew and was saying, a wide open field. The golf is so strong right now. I really think Scotty's rounding into form, and obviously the story with Rory being having just an absolutely fabulous year and lacking that one thing that makes him have a career Grand Slam is a green jacket. And at this point in his 40s, it's going to be getting in his head. He said that he wished that he could just leave his head in the locker when he leaves the golf course and not pick it up again until the next morning, because he doesn't want to think about it. And he said, you got to have your head on when you play the golf course. But he goes, I wish I could just leave it in the locker. So that tells you there's just no way to turn it off. And he knows he's playing well. But I just think there's lots of other people. It's not going to surprise me to see Scotty and Rory doing well. But I've got my eyes on a kid named Maverick McNeely.
Maverick McNeely.
He'll tee off at 9:37.
This is a kid that was a fabulous college golfer, struggled a little bit turning pro and performing quite the same, but he has now moved to number 10 in the world rankings. He has brothers that are all named for automobiles. I believe Colt is on his bag this week. I think his dad was some sort of person in Detroit, and so not that the Maverick was a great car or the Colt.
Well, I just thought maybe like Top Gun. I didn't know.
It's his first Masters, but he's a former world #1 amateur, really good player. It'd be fun to see a kid like that jump up in there and contend. But I look at the field and I'm like, man, I could see this guy winning and this guy winning. I'm pulling. I've got 3 former clients in the field, and I'm liking Steven Yeager as my dark horse. He's been playing well lately, has a fabulous short game, and is a good iron player. His driving is a little crooked, plenty long, but a little crooked, and a little crooked doesn't usually kill you in Augusta.
You mentioned Scotty Scheffler. 6 top 25 finishes this season in 6 events for Scotty Scheffler. That's why, and he's been the world #1 for 4 straight Masters. I think that's why a lot of people, Charlie, want Scotty Scheffler to win this.
Well, he's one of the most likable human beings out on tour. I have a client that takes lessons from the same instructor, and all he talks about is he's just a regular dude. But he has really, really performed. He had a hand injury back in the right around Christmas or New Year, cut his hand on a piece of broken glass, and he missed the start of the season as far as the year goes in the new year, and came back and has performed well, hasn't won. And this is the first time in the last few years he's come into Augusta to win. Matching him statistically, which hasn't been the case lately, is Rory McIlroy. So they do all this strokes gained calculations, and it lets you see what you do compared to the field. And Scotty has just won every possible category year after year. And strokes gained driving, strokes gained approaching, strokes gained around the green, all these things. Rory is right there with him, like they're number 2 and number 3 and just category after category. Rory has said recently that he's learned a lot from Scotty's game, that Rory is a little too impulsive, by his own words, impulsive, in making some decisions, and Scotty's just cold-blooded calculating and doesn't take unnecessary risk. And Rory has tried to implement that in his game. It will be interesting to see if that can hold up this week. I think we're going to have good scoring conditions, maybe a little breezy on the weekend, but ought to be beautiful. So it's an interesting thing to watch. And then, like you said, who is that person coming out of here that's got everybody's excitement and interest? It's probably a bit of a no-name. Could it be an amateur? We see amateurs performing so well on tour now. It just blows my mind how strong college golf has become. And they play in tour events, and it used to be, oh wow, I hope he makes the cut. And now it's like they're top 10, you know, and then they'll be playing in a college tournament this weekend. So it's an exciting week, and I think we have great conditions and just an incredibly strong field.
Well, and Charlie, talk about the golf course itself. It did get some rain. Michael Kim in his practice rounds and everything said that the way that they have the grass cut now, the way they have it cut between the fairways and the greens right there on the edge, that it's cut so that it's going against everything. He said it's hard right now in the practice rounds. He said, man, they were cut fast during those practice rounds. Putting is always an adventure at Augusta.
Some of the slopiest greens, and people around here can, you know, think of places that make you think about slopey greens. There's Gunner's Landing, and people will go down there, and it's like, oh, that's unbelievable. Man, there are greens at Augusta that have 2 or 3 of the greens at Gunner's Landing all in one green, you know, and it's just, the slopes are incredible. It forces you to have to hit balls into precise places. They're going to be fast. The question will be, will they be firm and fast? Which obviously that makes it much, much more difficult. So putting is always an adventure, and the people who win are historically good putters. Jack and Tiger and Watson and Mickelson, and you go down through here and you have people who are really, really good putters, typically win at Augusta. So, and the challenge with, like you were saying, around the greens and how tightly mown it is, that just makes it hard to get a club underneath the ball and elevate like you want to. And it means you'd better be absolutely precise. I was hitting balls the other day, warming up to play golf, and we were on mats. And you can hit a ball fat on a mat, and it just flies gorgeous, you know. And then you go on the first hole, and you hit it fat, and the ball goes 10 yards. And the same thing happens when you get to Augusta on these really, really tight fairways around the green. You're almost forced to hit it up in the air, but the lie doesn't give it to you. And if you miss it at all, it's thin and across the green, or it's fat and it goes nowhere. And so you have to be so precise, and your nerves have to be under total control. If you hit fairways and greens, it may not be that may not be tested very much. But if you miss the greens, it is a test beyond belief, and it's just so hilly, and people can't realize that on TV until you sit there and look at it and go, oh, wow, that's a monstrous hill to hit up, and then the flag right on the other side of the hill, and I've got to stop the ball. And when I sat there and looked at it, I was never the greatest with short game, and all I could picture is balls rolling back to my feet every time I tried to hit them up the hill and on the green. I could just imagine it. So when you see this, appreciate it for what it is. It's one of the most unique tests in golf, and we get to see it every year.
Yes, we do. And I can't believe it's been 10 years since Jordan Spieth won it. And speaking of someone who kind of struggles with his short game, but wow.
But I think he struggles mentally. I just the body language, the words he says. I would be so frustrated if I were his sports psychologist. I don't know that he has one. I assume he does. But he talks negative all the time, and feels like a victim. And if things get going negatively, then they can kind of snowball. And I know some people do that. They trash talk, not really in golf, but in other sports, to get themselves going. And I've just looked at it defeat him. And he can be playing good, and he'll miss a putt or he'll miss a chip, and you can hear him start talking. And it does not seem to work well for him. Tiger would badmouth a shot, and man, he would come back on the next one.
Yeah.
And it would. I just don't see that with Jordan. I'm watching Justin Thomas warm up right now. Man, I would just love to see this guy win at Augusta. It would be really fitting for his career.
Well, Scott made a great point of the Alabama and Auburn dudes got this thing started.
Yeah, how cool was that Alabama and Auburn got it started this morning at the Masters?
Yeah.
Alabama and Auburn.
Yeah, Davis Riley and Patton Kazar.
Yeah.
Kazar.
I didn't realize they were paired together.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to teach some classes for the Southeastern Junior Tour, and Patton used to come to them. And so I've known him since he was 15, 16 years old. And Davis Riley played in the AJGA up at the Ledges years ago. So connections there. Talked to his dad a good bit when he was up there. The thing to be watching for in the years to come, guys, is this Alabama-Auburn connection, just Southeastern golf in general. Auburn's got a fabulous college golf team. We're going to see those guys out there. Vanderbilt has an incredible team, and we will see guys on tour very quickly. There's now a way to qualify off of college golf and get out onto the Korn Ferry. And I believe there's one spot on the PGA Tour. They now have, quote, the College Golf Tour, and it's based on rankings. And so there are pathways straight from college into the pros now, and it has really, really facilitated a lot of careers.
Well, we look forward to maybe seeing some new stars this weekend in this wide open Masters. We'll definitely catch up with you on Monday after this is decided, Charlie, and get your thoughts on this. I believe is it the 91st Masters?
Oh, wow. I hadn't even paid attention.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's got to be like that because,
yeah.
Man, can you imagine winning the 100th Masters?
Oh, it'll be on top of us before we know it. Well, Charlie, we appreciate the time. Enjoy the golf, and we look forward to catching up with you next week. And let everybody know about Plot Performance.
Man, Plot Performance has more stuff going. You got the privilege of working with Chaney Johnson and doing basketball this year, which put me in a tough spot being an Alabama fan.
Right.
I know you had to struggle through that with the Duke-Alabama game. Our family really, really fought through that one.
Oh, yeah. I was texting your wife. It was tough. Yeah.
We have got more kids, more pros. It is just fascinating. All of the different things that we have going at Plot Performance and helping people perform better. It happens all the time. You can learn lessons for life and how to be a high achiever, and just use sports as the vehicle. If you've got kids or if yourself have interest in this, we'd be glad to talk to you. 256-509-2636. And just text me. Give me a call.
Good stuff. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Did you know that if you had $77,
I barely do,
you could buy everything on the food menu at the Masters? That's including dessert, beverages, sandwiches, everything. $77.
Ice cream sandwiches?
Georgia peach ice cream sandwich. That gets you one Georgia. They're only $3, by the way.
Three. Wow.
$3 for a Georgia peach ice cream sandwich at the Masters. Pimento cheese is $1.50. Egg salad is $1.50. Yeah.
There'll be some places you go get ice cream
$77
sandwiches
will
for
give you that.
$15.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of these days, I'm going to go. I
thought you were going to say pal right in the kisser. And
the pork barbecue sandwich is only $3. The classic chicken sandwich is only $3.
Johnny boy, he loves those chicken sandwiches. We know that.
Hey, a bottle of water is only $2.
There we go.
At the Masters.
Chicken sandwich and a bottle of water. That's all I need.
No, you need to get the Georgia peach ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, the Georgia. I haven't had one of those.
They sell out of those fast.
Oh, do they?
Oh, they burn through those, and everything is, remember, it's all in a green wrapper.
Oh,
so that if a piece of trash falls on the floor or on the ground, it's green, so it blends into the grass, so you do not see it on TV.
Enjoy the Masters first round today, everyone.
Black Adam Monday.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Alabama knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it.